What's up, Leafs fans? Welcome back to another Leafs Nation After Dark. I'm Zack Phillips, and tonight we're going to be breaking down game number 8 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season, dropping this one 5-1 to the St. Louis Blues here tonight, moving to 4-4 on the season. I'm not entirely sure where this stream is going to go here tonight. I'm going to try to not lose my mind because I think a lot of you are right. I think Nick, who tweeted out during the game here tonight, is right as well. You don't want to overreact. You don't want to kind of freak out too much. I heard about it a little bit after game number 7 when I talked about this as well, and kind of the back and forth that we experience as a fan base going from Monday night, seeing maybe one of the best games I've seen this Leafs team play, not in the last little while, but basically since we've seen this group playing for this team. And then we followed it up on Tuesday night with the most pathetic performance I've seen of this group, or one of the most pathetic performances I've seen of this group in a very, very, very long time in Columbus on Tuesday night. Just an embarrassing effort from start to finish, thinking that won't happen again. Thursday night, St. Louis, the Craig Berube revenge game. The boys hyped it up this morning. Brayden Schenn came on the show on Leafs Morning Take a couple days ago and teed up how he thought this one might go, how Berube wants to establish an identity with the team. We had videos coming out here from our post-game shows talking about how this was potentially a culture change that we had seen in this team. And I'm not going to overreact in terms of, oh, can they make the playoffs? Will they miss it this year? Are they going to be one of the worst teams? Are they a lottery team? No, obviously not. That's not the case. But am I going to get pissed off about the fact that this is the same garbage we see from this team over and over and over again every year? And it felt like this would be the first time that we saw this group under Craig Berube just not allowed to have this, not allowed to make excuses, not allowed to show up to a game in Columbus on a Tuesday night and just completely piss off and just not engage, not have energy, not have any excitement. And then you go into this game here tonight thinking this team has to be different, right? This team has to have something a part of them. They've got to have something within in that locker room to say, we're not going to let down Craig Berube, the team that fired him, a team that he won a Stanley Cup for and let him go. We're going to get the Craig Berube revenge game and do it for him. Even if you don't win the game, are you going to show up and play? Are you going to show up and have some intensity and some effort for him? And then they just did not. They just did not. Jeffrey Curry in the chat. I said before the season, this is a wild card team. I stand by that. Jeffrey, I think that's an out to lunch take. I'm not going to lie. I know we're talking about how this team is looking kind of pathetic right now and through this. That's pretty absurd to me. You want to talk about overreaction? There you go. That's some overreaction. That's not going to happen. I'm more talking about their ability to win and go far in the playoffs. These are the things that need to change. Are they going to go 500 the rest of the way? No, they're not. Are they going to make the playoffs? Are they going to get into the first round? Are they going to finish probably second or third in the division and play one of these teams? Likely. That's what's going to happen. It's just, are they a different group? Games like tonight tell you they're not. Games like tonight feel like there's just no difference in them, no matter who's at the helm. And this is where it just starts to feel like this revolving door or nonstop circle of like, new year, you get a new GM. Ooh, things will be different. You get a new coach. Ooh, things will be different. You get new defensemen and new players in here outside of them. Things will be different. Maybe it just won't, because the core and the nucleus of this group does not change. And the reality is, we're going to get to the playoffs. We're going to get into the first round, no matter what. Like, this team is just too good to not do that. So they're going to get there. But are we going to have to wait again until April to find out that they can't do it? And I know that we're talking about something that's months and months away. And this is game 8 of the season. And I'm sorry that we're going to come on here and have this conversation. And in game 8, I'm not saying this is a team that's not making the playoffs. I still am hanging on to that. They are, and they're going to be a top 3 in the Atlantic. Like, let's not be absurd like some people in the chat here. Like, we got to calm down on some of that. But Are they going to be able to do it? Are they a changed group? They basically like tricked us on Monday night. We came on here and said they played 60 minutes through the first 6 games. It felt like they were 6 for 6 for starting on time. They brought intensity. They brought energy. They were blowing guys over. They would just run through the other team. They would finish checks. They gave you no time, no space. They just took it all away. And then we said, you know what? Even though this team is not going to go 82-0, obviously, and win every single game, you're telling me that all of a sudden, a couple days later, it's just a complete different group out there on the ice? You're telling me that we're just going to watch an entirely different team? That's what's lacking right now. That's what's lacking from this group. Anything different. And it's because I feel like it's because these same guys are here. No matter how much you change the rest of it, the country club attitude that had been installed in this team for the last 9 years was accepted and fostered, has continued, and you can't get rid of it unless you just, that's when you take the drastic measure. I'm talking the overreact and going nuts, is ship someone out. You want to wake up that room? Someone's got to go then. Because otherwise it's just going to be the same carousel of shit for this whole season. The first line. And it's hard. I hate it right now having to talk about this because the first line, seeing Matthew Nyes and the way that kid plays and how pissed off he gets and how feisty he is and how much he gets involved in stuff and how much he won't back down on things. I hate having to come on the show after and say, oh, the first line. The kid's a fucking animal. This guy's amazing. And I'm not talking about amazing, mind, blow you away, gonna get paid like Crosby, Ovechkin, McDavid, amazing. I'm talking about amazing in terms of this guy is everything Leafs fans want. He's got some skill. He plays hard. He won't back down from anyone. He fights till the final whistle. He brings all of that to this team. And he's just a kid. It's like Debo, first line, minus Nyes. Yeah, the first line has stunk. One of my buddies texted me during the game. I hadn't even seen the tweet. He texted me during the game. A tweet from Luke Fox Jukebox. Nyes, Matthews, Marner line was -5 over the last 5 periods. You can't have that, man. This is not even looking at plus minus. That's the most surface level stat of all time. You can't look at each of these. You can't look at each of these and say, yeah, pin on the plus minus on a guy and this is who he is and he's bad at this or things happen this. Some of it's unlucky. Some of them you need to look at circumstance. Some of them a guy might be out there -2 on the year and he finishes over 82 and you're like, oh, well, he was out there for 2 less than he was on 4. But at the same time, maybe the guy's out there for power plays and he's getting those and those are going unnoticed because they're not affecting those stats. This lineup is not even scoring on the power play right now. You can't even create with an extra man on the ice to the point where it feels almost like it's like you need to just decline the power play. It's almost better to just go 5-on-5 with these guys because the power play, by the time you get into it, it's just the other team gets more momentum out of them. That's what's infuriating right now. And this is not 8 games. That's what people need to realize here. This is not, this is 8 games. Oh, we're 8 games into the season. Rob, who cares about some losses under 10 games in? Rob, the point is not about the losses. The point is not about, what's the record? The point is about how they're playing and how they're just showing you we still have last year in us. We still have the last 8 years of this who the fuck cares attitude inside of us. That's kind of who they are. And they're kind of just showing us right now, we could do that. We could do what we did against Tampa, but we'd rather not. That's what pisses people off. It's not even just this. It's not even just the lackadaisical play and getting behind the eight ball and not starting on time and all these different things that are going on. It's, are you able to generate opportunities in tight games? Are you able to score goals in tight games or when things get tough? Monday felt like yes. Against the Rangers, you weren't able to score in that game. The last two, your top line disappeared. Your second line disappeared. Now we're in here turning pucks over, giving odd man chances the other way. I go to find the stat. I think it was Chris Johnson tweeted out during the game something about where this team was. The Leafs power play was 13 for 121. He tweeted this. I don't even know if this included the last one. The Leafs power play is 13 for 121. Dating back to February 27. That's a 10.7% conversion rate. Pathetic. Like, no excuse for that. Bring in a new guy. Doesn't matter. Get a new defenseman. Doesn't matter. You know why? It's the same other guys out there who have been a part of the power play for the last 8 years, 7 years, however long Tavares has been here with them. Same group. Same group. I get it. It's not like this is not a panic in terms of these guys are missing playoffs. This is not panic of you're a lottery team. That's not the conversation here tonight. This is a panic of, oh my God, are they just the same group that we have to follow along for the entire year for the same shit to happen in April? Are we really going to lose games to Columbus and St. Louis just to cost us points in the standings, to get us into a third position and have to play Boston? Or go to fourth and have to play Florida? Are we really going to do that? And then just lose the first round and come on here after and say, shitty matchup in the first round. We got screwed. Really? Did we? Or were we just not that good? We convinced ourselves we were that good. And then we just got fooled for 6 months to the playoffs. 7 months. There feels like there's still a lot missing from this team that I don't know how much Berube can fix. And sitting here right now, after just watching that and watching what we did on Tuesday night and seeing these in back-to-back games right now, it just feels like deja vu. Like I have this pit in my stomach that they are who we thought they were. And we're going to get excited about Berube and Tree Living and the adjustments that are being made amongst the roster, only for the nucleus to be the ones to rip our hearts out again in the first round. And nights like tonight, as point guard points out, Matthews is invisible. Your best players have not been that great through the first little while. They've gotten some points, they've gotten on the board, but outside of that, it's like you haven't taken over games, you haven't dominated, you haven't been able to get guys going and say, look at us, let's figure this out. You just haven't at this point. And when does it click for them? Because if you're at year 9, maybe it just doesn't. And that needs to be recognized. Maybe you just need to come to the conclusion that just this group isn't going to be it. I don't know. Mike Batson, that's the point here, as what Mike is saying in the chat. We're not going to miss the playoffs, but at this rate, probably 1 and out again. That's the issue, which I think is what is frustrating for a lot of people in the chat watching this. It's like, what's going to happen when it matters the most? Because it doesn't feel like they're going to be any different. The power play, let's kind of dial in on that there. The power play needs to snap out of this. And it just, I think that the only way to do this right now is just to completely break that unit up. It's the same thing with watching the first line that goes out there together with Matthews and Marner. Oh, they have to be glued together. They have to play side by side. They haven't been good. Break it up. Demote someone. Take away minutes. Change things up. The first power play unit, you've gone with the same ones over and over and over again. Nothing has changed. 3 for 27 on the power play, according to the broadcast tonight, this year. Okay. Change it. If it's 3 for 27, they only have momentary glimpses of looking like this lethal unit with the best scorers in the world. Change it. Every year in the playoffs, these same guys can't get it done on the power play. Last year, leading into the playoffs, couldn't get it done. Last year in the playoffs, couldn't get it done. This year, try it again. Couldn't get it done. Change them. I don't understand the need to keep those guys together. Obviously, it's a new coaching staff. It's a new group to come in here and look at these guys and see what happened. But, there's got to be some kind of end to this. Maybe try Domi on the first unit. Nyes on the first unit. Marner. JT. Send him to the second unit. Change things. It's not even infuriating. It's just the power play is boring to watch. And it's just extremely confusing that this group with all these guys can't get it done. Let's get to this in the chat. Super chat here from our friend Maxentius. Max says, thank you, Max, as always, for the super chat. He says, 40 plus shots and 99% of them were harmless. How? Right now, it just feels like the group is struggling to find ways to get to the front of the net regularly. What I would say, yeah, you see the flashes, you see them drive the front of the net every now and then, but it's a couple of guys. Ryan Reeves just doesn't have the puck skill to do it. David Kampf doesn't have the puck skill to do it. Lorentz will try. Nyes will do it. Nylander will attempt it. Bobby McMahon. There's a handful of guys that will Domi, but Domi won't shoot. Who are just not afraid of that contact, driving, getting to the front of the net. Matthews will do it time to time. He doesn't really need to because of how lethal of a scorer he is elsewhere, but these guys will, it's only a few of them really at this point who will do that stuff. So then you kind of look outside and it's okay, if you're not going to go to the dirty areas and create chances that way, you're going to struggle against teams who are just going to take that away from you in the regular season. That's just natural. For the most part, you should be able to outscore a lot of those problems. But in games like this, it's just not going to come because St. Louis kind of just knows, hey, this is the way they're going to want to play. They're going to be up for it. They're going to be excited. They're going to want to go out there and get a win in Toronto. They know that this game should have been important for the Leafs. Apparently fucking not. These guys didn't care that much, it seemed, for how this one was going to go from the Leafs perspective, trying to win it for Berube. Apparently these guys just kind of gave Berube the FU tonight here. It was like, yeah, well, we didn't show up. And then outside of that, that's a big problem that you have in the playoffs. How much of this is peripheral? How much is it in the playoffs where they can't... Leafs are softer than my girlfriend's best friend's legs. Maybe you shouldn't be touching those, but okay. It's peripheral, right? Like you're playing peripheral hockey. You do it in the regular season. That's your identity. You're a perimeter team. You do it on the power play. You just try to find ways to outscore it if that's going to be the case. You don't get guys driving to the front of the net. And then it doesn't work in the playoffs. And now all of a sudden it's just going to... Now all of a sudden it's just going to this point of like, it's not even working in the regular season. How are you going to get this done? I gotta address this, and then it's the last time we're addressing them tonight because clearly there's this disconnect of what's going on. Jeffrey Curry. But no, Zach says we have to win now. Where here's the future, pal. Losers. Jeffrey, this team is and has been in win now mode. That is why myself, other media members who cover the team, Leafs fans, are so frustrated with the performance that we see. This group has these high-paid players who are supposed to be elite talent in the NHL, are supposed to be elite players who are capable of getting this stuff done. You get these first-round draft picks who step up and join this team. That is why there's this frustration. It is win now. It is right now. To suggest that there should have been this development and trying to get picks to help out later on. Jesus. Get a grip. Get a grip. More super chats here. Let's get to some of these. Tammy, Berube has to change nearly a decade of the soft country club culture and convert them to a new play style. That's difficult to do in one season. Part 1. Tammy also says, Zach, there's going to be growing pains of this team. It's not so preposterous to call them a wild card team, but given their talent, they shouldn't be one. Honestly, I mean, let's address kind of both parts here. Yes, he does have to change that. I get that. I think that the issue is going to start to feel more and more like there's nothing he can do. It is, at some point, what I mean by this is he may not allow this atmosphere. He may not allow it. But unless the guys who are the leaders of this team in the locker room and on the ice, unless they are capable of changing their attitudes themselves, then it may not matter. It may not ever matter. Those guys are the guys that it starts with and it ends with. Because if they won't do it, then it will not matter. It will not change anything for the trajectory of this team. Their ability to get things done when it matters, or to play some type of different style. So I understand what you're saying, Tammy. That being said, it's just like these should be easy things to adjust. In regards to this should be shit you should have been doing already. So I do understand, but at the same time, like, I don't. You're in the National Hockey League. How can you not figure some of this stuff out? As well as the growing pains and wild card team. I mean, I don't think so. Like, as far as winning games in the regular season goes and getting this sorted out, I do think that's going to happen. So when we're having these debates, this discussion, when we're losing it on the team or being as pissed off as we are, the overreaction is thinking that they're going to miss playoffs or they're going to be scratching and clawing for a playoff spot. I think that's the overreaction. I think the realistic situation and what we should be worried about, which is what I am worried about, is that it looks like you figure it out in the regular season or you just kind of turn things around and you win some games. But in the playoffs, you are not really a different team. And that is what the worry is for me at that point, is that it just never changes big picture. You're good enough to win a lot of games. You started pretty shit here in the first couple. You're 4-4. You've had some real stinkers and you've had some real good games. Grand scheme, don't think there's a panic about are you good enough to make the playoffs. But in terms of are you good enough to actually do some damage? These games are what make me think no, because it makes me just feel like it's the same team as years before. So that's the worry. That's the worry. We got more super chats. I want to get to these and answer them. I appreciate everyone who's watching the stream right now, liking the video, subscribing to the channel, all that stuff. We want to try to get to 15,000 subscribers by November. We're awfully close to November. Not close enough to 15,000 subscribers. Let's get those numbers up. Hit the subscribe button. Let's dial it in. As far as those of you watching right now, we did hit 50 likes here, so we'll get to the smelling salts right now. Something we've brought along. No matter how good, no matter how bad, there's some type of at least relief for those of you in the chat to kind of get a pause from being pissed off at games or really excited with games and watch the smelling salts. I don't know. There's an overwhelming amount of you who seem to enjoy them. So thanks for liking the stream. Thanks for watching. Let's do the smelling salts. There you go. Whew. All right. Next super chat. Jimbo Bananas. Core 4. Wrong personalities for Berube style to work in the long run. Too chill. Too unemotional, too soft. Yeah, I mean, I think that this is not even really like a Berube issue. I don't think that this is like, or what I mean is a compatibility with Berube. I don't think that this is like, oh, this is too many of the same guy or too much of not Berube style of player with these guys versus what he wants and what he needs. I think this is just a complete separate incident that needs to be like broken out between the two. Yes, Berube wants guys to play a certain way, a certain style. Are all four of those guys Berube's style? No. I think the bigger issue is that there's too many of those guys, the four of them really, who do the same thing. They are the same player. And my issue comes, and I've said it a million times, I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, so I apologize, but Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares, Watch their demeanor throughout the course of a game. Watch the way they react and respond when the going gets tough and they're down and they need to get back into a game or something goes the opposite way. They are all the same. And this is the issue that I have, which I'm not doing the whole debate tonight, but the issue that I have when it comes to Marner. You guys who have been following for a long time know where I stand. For those of you who watched the infamous Rosie rant, take that rant. That's it. That's the encapsulation of how I feel. But I think he will be an incredible player on another team. I think if you took Nylander, he would be an incredible player on another team. Name your guy. You put them somewhere else. They will do really well. For the longest time, Leafs fans have kind of sat here and said, we can't let this guy go because we're worried about them. We can't let that guy go because of that. You see in a game like tonight, how many of these guys stepped up really, really differently than they have in the past? Physically, emotionally, are they yelling at guys on the bench? I'm not talking about angry yelling and stuff, but is anybody giving like a rah or getting guys riled up? Is anyone going out there and changing the way that they play or adding anything else to their game that they haven't already? Is someone running somebody through the boards? Or even, it's not like, you love this kind of stuff from other people, but as PS17, no intensity or pushback over the past 2 games. They didn't even finish one check. Those are the kinds of things I'm talking about. It's like, a guy runs into you. You're down 5-1. Why don't you get in a little sissy stick swinging fight? Why? Like that's the level that we're kind of going to at this point with the emotion of these guys. Why can't that come out? Why can't a guy bump into you and you just turn around and give him a slash? You're going to get 2 minutes. But it's going to kind of say like, okay, don't fuck with that guy. Don't do that. And then at that point in time, it's like, all right, we showed something. Like I watched that game and it's like, all right, you're down a couple. And I sit here, watch the game and it's like, you could turn it off and be like, it's over. That one's done. That's the problem. And that's what PS17 says, no intensity or pushback. James Newman, where's this heavy hockey? You don't have the players. And when I talk about those guys and when I talk about the core, it's like none of them will do it. And then if you want to understand the difference, watch what happened in the Amazon Prime series with McDavid in the Cup Finals. Snapping on the team. Watch what happens with Nathan McKinnon when the team is down or the team is out of it and he just runs someone through the boards, drives the net hard and drops his shoulder into the defenseman in front and tries to jam it past the goalie and is ripping shots and smashing into everyone. Look at in Dallas. Jamie Benn says, we're not going to go down emotionless, and starts finishing checks. Whether you like these guys or not, Brad Marchand, David Pasternak, look at Tampa at the end of games. We all sit here and say, hey, those guys are pissy. Those guys are losers. And then they go 3 rounds further than us in the playoffs every single year. This is a really good team. This is not a great team. And you're missing a lot of heart and character in this group. That's the frustration. I have no idea if anyone else heard that sound or what the hell that was. But there was just some type of warning that I got. It was from Facebook. I'm certain no one else heard it. I heard it. That scared the hell out of me. Thank you, Sean, watching on Facebook. I'm not sure what he sent. He sent something. Thank you. You scared the ever-living crap out of me. Oh my God, that was nuts. That scared me so much. There was a loud beep in my headphones. Sorry, guys. Okay. Yeah, that was scary. All right, let's get to DizK, Zach, it's 2024. Who uses Facebook? We are live streaming on Facebook right now. For those of you who are watching on YouTube and are in the YouTube chat, we are also live on Twitter and on Facebook. So I'm the one-man show right now. I'm producing everything as well. I've got all of it up on Facebook and Twitter, and I'm monitoring everything. And I've never heard that sound. However many shows I've done, like 40, 50 shows. And I just got like a notification from Facebook for the first time ever. So that's what it was. Oh my God, that scared the fuck out of me. Okay, let's do... I want to answer some Joseph Woll questions. So I saw a bunch of you talking about it. I saw someone earlier getting pissed off about Woll. And I see a bunch of you guys right now asking thoughts on him and why he came back here tonight. So let's get into a goalie section. And we might as well get to this goalie section and do the segment presented by Square. Segment is powered by Square. If you run a restaurant, you're too busy for this ad. You're thinking about how to get more orders flowing and new locations opening. You need to get more customers and keep them coming back. So really, you're already thinking about Square, because Square Restaurant Tech helps more than 400,000 restaurants do all those things and more. So when you're thinking about your restaurant, think bigger and think Square. Go to square.ca and see why Square is big in restaurants. Thank you to Square presenting this goalie segment. For those of you wondering as well, I mean, no one is, but I'm going to tell you what happened. Went to a friend's Halloween party last night. We were playing board games and all that stuff. Playing code names. Not sure if you know. Basically, you say like a clue. The games, the word is on the board somewhere. You got to match the clue to the word, claim it, whatever. The girl given the clue says POS. The answer? Square. It was the answer in our game. And if you're running a restaurant, it should be your answer too. Check out Square. Let's do our goalie segment. Panic in the pipes. Came up with that one on the spot. Panic in the pipes. Is there panic in the pipes? I'm going to say no. I saw earlier Woll is a backup. I saw, why did Woll get rushed back? Like, there's a lot of questions regarding Joseph Woll and why he was in this game. And Francesco, F. Woll, he stinks. I also had questions about why he played here tonight. From everything that I had heard, it sounded like he wasn't going to be 100%. And I talked about it in the pregame video that I put out on here on the show as well, was okay, is it the right decision to put him back in here even if he's healthy? And the kind of conversation that had come up, and I heard them talking about it on Overdrive the other day, and I agreed with it 100%, was like, what happens if you put him in here in a game and put some pressure on him based on, hey, you're going to have to be really good because the team needs to respond. You need to have a game. You need to have a game here to help Berube out. You need to have a game because you're in a predicament in terms of, are you going to be able to lock down and hold on to this starting job? It felt a little bit uncomfortable to put him in the net. It felt like it was just Six saying boohoo, pressure on Woll. Oh my. I'm not saying like he can't handle pressure. The conversation is more that he's returning from injury after missing and not having played for 2 weeks now at this point, since he was in the net in his final preseason game. And it's not like you're throwing him to the Wolves against St. Louis, but you're putting him in a pressure spot in terms of this team has just come off one of the worst games we've seen them play in a long, long time. it puts up a lot of pressure on everyone is more so the issue here. I'm not in a let's panic about this and panic about the goalies. I think things will be fine. It's just, I was thinking about it the other day, and you guys had kind of put this in my head as well in the chat after the game on Tuesday when it came to Hildeby, and they're like, oh, Hildeby stinks. Like, this is a worry. We don't have goalies. Hildeby is a kid and should not be relied upon to be the backup goaltender here now in Toronto on a team that's supposed to be able to compete for the Stanley Cup. The issue comes in, can Wall stay healthy? And if he can't stay healthy, then now Hildeby's going to be forced to be the backup. That's where panic kind of starts to come in, where it's like, if he's not healthy, then that's the issue. I'm not really worried right now. JC, well played because he's from St. Louis. I get it. This game was in Toronto, though, not in St. Louis. That's a little bit different from me. Charlie, good comment. I'm from St. Louis, and I didn't get to play. Fair enough. So I'm not panicking about goaltenders right now is basically the moral of the story for myself. But I just thought it was an interesting decision to put Woll in here tonight and not wait until Saturday, I guess, is more like what I'm looking at. It's against Boston, which is kind of shitty on Saturday night. Crappy on Saturday night. But, yeah. Matt Murray to the rescue. Yeah. And Jared right out. It's not the coach, it's the players. Agreed right now. That was pathetic from the group. Really did not help Joseph Woll, but not really a great night from him either. I can't really look at any of the goals and be like, oh my God, that was terrible by him. But it's an 8.46 save percentage. He only makes 22 saves on 26 shots. Like that's gonna suck. It's gonna hurt. And then you just don't want bad juju in the heads of your goaltenders. Felt like that was not great. Okay. There's your Panic in the Pipes segment. Powered by Square. Thank you to Square for presenting this one. 17 more likes to 100. We hit that. We'll do smelling salts here yet again. 6-hole. Maybe Murray mentored Woll on how to get injured a lot. It's a good comment. It's funny. All right, let's get to our next segment. Let's recap what went wrong on... You guys are pretty funny in the chat. Let's recap what went wrong with our best bet for tonight's game. And our best bet segment is brought to you by Bet365, proud partner of the Leafs Nation pregame and Leafs Nation after dark. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. So whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Use code NATION, that's NATION, code NATION, NATION, when you sign up today. As for tonight's best bet, no bueno. We had Johnny T, anytime goal scorer, as our best bet here tonight. We are now down 1.7 units on the season. A half unit for Johnny T, anytime goal. I know a lot of you are going to say, what is with the player props? Why are we doing this? We're now 2-7 on the year. 9 bets. We have lost 7 of them. This was the most... This is the most mathematically based bet I could have possibly given you of the entire season that I will probably do, and we just can't get it through the finish line. Off to an outrageous start on the season. This stinks. I'm not gonna lie. This sucks. Plus 230, an implied probability of 30%. His shooting percentage is 10% on the season. He's a career 12.8% shooter. He's got a higher expected goals generated than actual goals scored. I thought that line was going to finally start to get some 5-on-5 rocking. I thought they were finally going to get some type of energy and excitement in them. And I was like, man, this is going to be the night. You want an even bigger dagger into this one of why this bet didn't win tonight? Or how this bet didn't win tonight? You want to know who had the most expected goals on the Leafs? You want to know what player had the most expected goals of all the Leafs? Johnny T. You guys can get mad at me all you want. I completely understand. I'm not going to get upset at you for it. I gave out losers. I'm 2-7 on the season. But that was a good bet. He was the highest expected goals generated for the Maple Leafs tonight. He was the highest expected goals of any player on the ice. The next closest was Dylan Holloway. Dylan Holloway. 0.7. JT, 0.85. It was a good bet. We lost. Process, not the results, I guess. It's unfortunate. I don't even know what to do about that. I mean, I'm going to own them, right? It's 2-7. I'm sorry. We're down 1.7 units. It's not about the record. It's about the units. Born-Terra, I still believe. All right. There you go. Hi. Yeah, Mike, this is profits for 365. It is. Oh. Can't win them all. Can't win them all. Well, apparently in this case, you can't win most of them. All right, another super chat here. Super chat from Francesco Ravenda. Why does Peter Chiarelli still have a job in 2024? Francesco, yeah. Francesco, it's a good question. I think that the one thing we see in the NHL a lot is guys just getting recycled. Sorry, they go round and round and get opportunities, and no matter what happens and how many bad moves that get made, it you keep you keep your job, or you keep opportunities in the NHL. So that's the best that I could answer that. I'm sorry I can't give you your money's worth on that answer. I appreciate you. Appreciate the super chats. Can answer another question if you want, but yeah. That's the best I could do. All right. Let's get to our final couple segments, and I'm just reading the chat there. Hero, same shit, different year, first round exit. Michael Kirkpatrick, Bruins just got pounded by Dallas. They'll be in a bad mood. We got another super chat here as well. Colin says, why did these guys even need a coaching change? Man up and diversify your game. Play the gritty, well-rounded game needed to win at an NHL level. Yeah. The team as a whole, I do think needed a coaching change, Colin. But to a degree here, I would agree with you. To a degree, I would agree. I think that part of the issue, like, man up and diversify your game, play a gritty, well-rounded game needed to win at an NHL level. I agree. But I also think that there needs to be an acknowledgement from maybe not tree living, but someone above him that maybe this is not the group of four that you need to win the Stanley Cup, or that can win you a Stanley Cup. Maybe it needs to be addressed that spending the money on these guys just isn't going to get you over the hill. And this is not the group who's going to be able to do it. Colin there saying as well, they are men now, not little boys. They have to have balls, play the way you need to in order to win. It's not rocket science. I agree. Maxentius Decimus here with another super chat as well. Max says, no grit, no grind, no greatness. Craig Berube. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem, right? But I think they did need the coaching change, but I think that it was more than just a coaching change. I think they also needed players to go. Like, this is the second coach who has been here under this group of 4 or 5, if you want to include Riley in that, with JT, Marner, Matthews, Nylander, and Riley. Like, when it comes to those 5 guys, they have been here from Mike Babcock to Sheldon Keefe to now Craig Berube, and under all of those coaches, there was the same mindset from that group of players, and it has not gone away. And at some point, you might just need to understand that that's who these guys are. I know, Max says Berube posted that in the locker room, by the way. Yeah, I know. It's on the wall in there. Third coach of these guys' tenure. I do think they needed one, but I also think that this is just an excuse to let these guys off the hook, which is pretty pathetic in my opinion. These guys need to own it. I will say, as for some stuff that has been, wow, Twitter is pretty ruthless to 16 here tonight. One of the things that I did see that was tweeted out was a quote from William Nylander, and you know what? You want some positives? Credit to Mark Masters for tweeting these out. These are quotes from the end of the game, or from after the game, excuse me. 2 that I really want to point out and highlight. First, William Nylander. He has the bad giveaway at the goal line that allows the Blues to go up 4-1. It's late in the game. You're trying to mount a comeback. Jake McCabe enters the zone across the blue line. He's holding onto the puck, waiting for Nylander to come off the bench. Nylander comes in with speed. He hits him. Once he hits him, and he's coming in there, McCabe darts into the offensive zone. He activates. Nylander goes to make a move past Jake Neighbors. Neighbors pokes it off him, gone the other way on a 2-on-1, and beats Wall short side. Terrible play by Willie. Terrible play by him in that position. He's the last man back in a game where you're trailing and you need a goal, and he makes that move. Willie says, my play was stupid there in the third period. Got to be better than that. At that point in the game, 3-1, 17 minutes left. There's still a lot of time. That's got to be better situational awareness on my part. First of all, kudos to him for acknowledging it and saying it. I would rather them acknowledge this and have these stupid brain dead moments at the blue line now than in February, March, April. Get it out now. Acknowledge it now. Take accountability for that shit now. The other one that is good, I want to give it to Willie. Credit on that one. The other one that's good here, and I'm glad to see, and it's good out of the captain, Austin Matthews. Just a bad game all around. Up and down our lineup. It starts with me. He is right. It does start with him. It's great acknowledgement. I'm glad he's saying that shit in the media, because also in the past, the stuff that we would hear, which I know that it's JT's personality, and it's not because, like, that's one of the issues that even I had with it when I was hearing these things, is like, we don't want to hear this. Some of that is just his personality. JT would say, learn lessons, not good enough. We learned lessons here tonight. Matthews starts with me. Good. But show it. Saturday, show up. Saturday, bring it. Dean Johnson, that's what I expect from Nylander. He owns it. He will be better. I agree. But I just, now you've got an opportunity. You owned it. So it just needs to be it needs to be more than just acknowledging it in the media. All right, let's get out of here with the last couple of things before we wrap up the show. Let's get to our play of the game here tonight. Play of the game. Play of the game for me. Man, these ones are real tough. You guys in the chat were pretty funny the other night. Play of the game, final buzzer. It kind of feels like that again here tonight. Play of the game at this point. Ekman Larson, get on the board. I was happy for him. Steps back, screen in front of the net, gets a puck through, gets tipped by the defenseman or by the Blues player there, goes in. Not too much to dig into there. That's potential play of the game. Final buzzer. You guys all saying that in the chat numerous times. Funny. Matthew Nyes going at Jake Neighbors. Late in the game, you're down. You need to push back. Goes to the front of the net, bumps into Binnington. Gets jumped by a couple Blues, as they should do. Respect to them. And then he just says, forget it. And he goes and grabs Jake Neighbors and goes nuts on the kid. Kudos to him. Great of the game tonight. I mean, don't go look at the deserve to win a meter, because you guys might have an aneurysm reading that. 79% right now I'm seeing. 78%, there you go, in favor of the Leafs winning tonight. Deserve to win a meter. Great, as long as we get to win there. Grade of the game is going to be a... God, do we just go an F again? Maybe. It's like a D minus F. Probably just an F, which is brutal. Back-to-back Fs. Back-to-back Fs. Yeah, chat. L in the chat. St. Louis was missing Robert Thomas, who had more than 80 points last season, and they still won. Yeah, F. Power play. Let's read that. Power play, 0 for 4. Penalty kill, only 50%, a 1 for 2 on the night. Joseph Woll, 846 save percentage. Just even taking a look. Nyes, -3. Marner, -3. Matthews, -3. Nylander, -2. Tanev, -3. McCabe, -2. Kudos to Berube for making adjustments in the third period. You got to shake some things up. Try to get Willie some more ice time. Obviously, kind of bites you a little bit there, but moving some lines around. We saw lines of come out for the third period. It was Nyes, JT, Willie who started. Then it was McMahon, Matthews, Marner, and then Lorenz, Domi, and Robertson. I mean, as long as it's not too crazy, but okay, didn't work. You couldn't get anything going out of these guys. Try something else. Other than that, power play stinks. You changed up pairings as well. McCabe and Tanev went together. OEL and Riley. McCabe and Tanev is always going to be fine, in my opinion. OEL and Riley, that should not be happening. It's just my opinion, but do not like it. F. F is the grade tonight. That's going to do it for tonight's stream. I appreciate everyone who tuned in, watched, liked, subscribed throughout the course of this one here tonight. We hit 100 likes, so I will do this before we get out of here. Thank you all to those of you who liked the final smelling salts of tonight. There you go. Oh. Partially got to blame Fanatics here. The jerseys stink. I just don't like how the white jerseys are see-through. That's my issue right now. The white jerseys are like see-through. It's like the baseball pants where you can see everyone's junk. It's concerning. All right, let's get out of there on that. Leafs lose this one. Game number 8 of the regular season, 5-1 to the St. Louis Blues. The Berube revenge game falls flat. Surprise, surprise. Boys can't get it done. Bad night for special teams, bad night for goaltenders, and bad night for the top 6. No bueno for the top 6 of this Leafs team. Thank you all to everyone who tuned in. I'll be back here Saturday night following the game Leafs-Bruins. I think Nick will be joining me. He was in attendance there tonight, so I'm sure he's going to have a lot to say tomorrow. Rosie as well will have a lot to say. Thank you all for watching. I will see you Saturday night following the game against the Bruins. This is being game number 8 against St. Louis Blues, losing this one 5-1. Appreciate it. As always, keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos, make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and drop a like.